Right.
Right on.
And this is the Heavy Groove List podcast. I've only just launched this thing, and I'm super cool and stoked to be have met Peter online on Instagram. Both metal fans, big Pantera fans, obviously.
Yep.
And talking about all things heavy groove. And I've called it heavy groove and not groove metal for a reason, man. And the reason is because heavy groove can cover a whole bunch of cool stuff, and it doesn't necessarily have to be metal or distorted. And
Right. That's true.
And so that's why I chose heavy groove instead of groove metal, even though obviously that's covered in it.
Yeah.
So that's just because our roots obviously from way back would have started with rock, and then we progress into metal as we get in the teenage years, and then wherever it takes us, so
Absolutely. Yeah
man, so really cool to have met you, man, and thanks for jumping online at the drop of a hat. You started chatting a couple hours ago, really.
Really, it's an honor, man.
And just super cool you're up for a chat and to talk about heavy groove, man. So what's a bit of your background, Pete?
Like guitar wise, just musically speaking?
Anything, like what you were into, how you got into it, how you started playing.
So I started playing it May of 2000. I was 14 years old, sweaty, pimply little 8th grader going into freshman year. I didn't have a total grasp on what my flavors were of music. I was into like Limp Bizkit, Korn, Stained, some Metallica, liked Metallica. I always liked Pantera. I think generally speaking, my tastes got heavier and heavier, throughout the years. But yeah, I mean, I started playing right away. There was a big group of friends. We all started playing together. It was a small town in New Jersey, like in the woods down in South Jersey. And I mean, it kind of just grew into a thing. And some of us still play to this day. The majority of us don't really play anymore. But, I was into a lot of core stuff in the early 2000s, Shadows Fall, All That Remains, Lamb of God, all those kind of bands. They just took me by the storm, and their drop D tuning and all those riffs and stuff like that. And then I moved out here. I moved out to SoCal in 2009. I was in a few bands out here. But I even got into a lot of death metal too. Like I like, Decapitated, Suffocation, Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse, and a lot of those specific death metal bands, they inject a lot of groove into their riffs. I mean, there's blast beats and chaos and absolute, like bizarre time signatures and stuff that they use. But when they come down and break down into a groove, it's usually some of the nastiest stuff you ever hear. They just have such a knack for beating up the rhythm and what they can find in those pockets when they dig into it,
Most definitely.
Yeah. But nowadays, I mean, I don't have the death metal chops that I used to, but I've always had, I'm a rhythm guitarist. I don't shred leads, but I've always had a good right hand. I've always had a good feeling for rhythm, being able to count, yeah, I mean, Pantera's like, it just takes the cake. That's like the number one band, in my opinion, as far as influence, as far as what Dimebag put out, what Dimebag innovated on the fretboard with his groove riffs. It's one of those bands, like, you can learn Metallica songs, you can learn Megadeth songs, but you try to learn a Pantera song, and it just doesn't quite sound like Dime. He's got soul. He's got, it's never going to sound like him. As much vibrato as I practice and everything, it's just not the same. But
so many people say about just his way of playing. Like, I mean, I've even seen Phil say it on on interviews. Like, it doesn't matter, man. Like, whatever anyone tries, it just like no one can sound like the dude.
Nope.
So, that was a real unique thing. The thing I love about, like, I'm a drummer myself, but the thing I love most about Dime is how percussive his playing is.
Yeah.
It's just like him and Vinny, like, obviously, like, they grew up playing together, so they had some magic that, I mean, there's other brothers out there that do great work together as well, but the Gojira guys is one example, but Dime and Vinny, I know they had something, which doesn't come along that often, and some special stuff, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. Big time.
Yeah. So what's you got a number one tune from Pantera, or is it just too hard to pick?
That's really difficult, because I like a lot of the B-side tracks off of albums. There's all the mainstays. I'm Broken, 5 Minutes Alone, Revolution is My Name. There's all these songs that are just like incredible, but there's so many B-side tracks where when you really listen back to them and you hear what Dime did, because I listen to a lot of the guitars. That's like I listen to guitars more than I listen to anything else in music. I think that probably goes with you too. Like being a drummer, you probably listen to the drums first, and everything is anchored off of the drums. One of my all-time favorites though has got to be Slaughtered off of Far Beyond Driven, and there's not even a guitar solo in that song, just a bunch of nasty riffing and a really nasty groove. Yeah.
That's one thing I loved about his playing was it wasn't, even though he could shred like nobody else. He didn't always put it on everything,
Right.
whatever the song called for, that was it.
Yep.
So,
Totally.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Because when you do it, it's that much more impact,
Yeah, exactly. That much more significant, right?
Yeah, most definitely, man. Yeah. So, other than Pantera, what else can you not leave off your groove list, man? Well, what's on your playlist that you just gotta listen to it every X amount of weeks or days or months or whatever?
Alice in Chains, they're not like totally heavy metal, but there's something, again, Jerry Cantrell, there's something about his composition and his riffs. They're always really dark. They're always really angry. There's a juxtaposition, right, between the cleaner vocals and the heavy guitar and those pocket drum beats that, what's his name? Michael Kinney, I think. He's an awesome drummer. Sean Kinney. That's it.
Yeah.
Awesome drummer. So Chains is definitely a big mainstay. I've been listening to a lot of Exhorder. I don't know if you've heard of them. Exhorder.
Yeah.
They're like similar era, like early '90s groove.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Isn't there like a bit of a debate about who came up with the sort of sound first?
The sound. Yeah, there's definitely a debate, and you know what? I'm not as familiar with Exhorder. I just recently kind of stumbled upon them because they have a cover of Black Sabbath's Into the Void, and that's an iconic riff. And Exhorder does a really good cover of it. Like it's awesome. It's kind of modern sounding. I think they covered it in like '92 or something like that. But Exhorder, Crowbar. I like Crowbar. I like Kirk Winstein a lot. He's also in Down. I know he left Down for a little while. Now he's back with Down again, which is good to see. Kirk's got a lot of flavor, man. He's one of those veteran groove guys. That doom sludge. He tunes his Gibson Explorer down to like B, and it's just a 6-string, just awesome manly riffing. That would probably like round it out. I listen to like a lot of the same stuff. I don't know how it is, with you, but I listen to like a lot of the same stuff. Unless someone introduces me to something and it's like it blows my mind, I'll bring it in. But I, listen to a lot of death metal still. Like I still go back and listen to a lot of Decapitated, Cannibal Corpse, like we're saying before. Just depends. I work construction, so kind of goes hand in hand. Like I'm working hard, I'm listening to hard music. Not that I need an excuse to listen to metal. I listen to metal from first thing in the morning to the time I go to bed, and it just levels me out.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. Yeah, well, most of those bands, AIC, I love as well. Crowbar, Down, all that sort of thing. It's just top notch. Nola was one of the reasons we just like, let's do this thing. Let's get this band off the ground, because it just blew our minds. That album is just something else.
So good.
That main riff in Lifer, I think if you go look up heavy groove in the dictionary, it's got to be in there.
Comes right there. It's funny because those are still mainstays. I've never seen Down live, but they still play those songs off of Nola live because it's just, they're timeless grooves.
The crowd wants to hear it, man. I want to hear that.
That's
so
it.
Yeah, mate. No, I haven't seen them either, but I've seen Pantera a couple of times back in the day. But,
lucky.
Oh man, everyone's got a dime story. I'll tell you ours. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was '94 tour, Far Beyond tour, first time they came to Australia.
Nice.
So yeah, not only we got up the front of the pit and we were, Dime and Vinny were always checking out the support bands wherever they went. So they're always on the side of the stage, checking out bands they've never seen before, because obviously, wherever they tour, they're going to have, back in the day, I think it was a rule here that your first band had to be a local support or something in certain venues.
Yeah.
And then before you had the two touring bands or the one touring band, depending.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were checking them out. And then, but just to kill a show, man. Then afterwards, there was a after show party, as there often is. And at a venue that no longer exists. It was like the metal club in Brisbane called Crash and Burn.
Nice.
In the city. And the after show party, they all rock up. And me and my mates, maybe 5 or 6 of us, we just, straight away around, Dimebag and Vinny and just chatting to them and inviting them back for, we didn't live that far from the city, so inviting them back for drinks and joints and stuff like that. And
Yep.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, man." He goes, "Yeah, hook us up. Where you live?" Sort of things. One of my mates gets out a Sharpie and starts writing the fucking directions to get to our place on his arm, in between his tattoos and stuff. And it gets a bit ridiculous. So when his arm's like fully covered, he's like, "No, fuck this." He starts trying to rub all the shit off his arm. But he was cool. He was cool about it. But yeah, it was just some funny shit. He was so personable and time for everyone, man. When you actually see it, you hear about it from others and you go, "Oh yeah, sounds like a cool dude." But when you actually experience it yourself and go, "Yeah, the dude really was like that with everyone," Yeah, pretty unbelievable. Cool. Yeah, man.
Oh, awesome.
And the other time was an in-store and '96 Trendkill tour, where I'm a bit of a visual artist too, so I do like drawings and paintings and shit. And I had this drawing of Pantera I did, and I took it in to get signed, and the whole band signed it. I don't know, it's gone now. I don't know what happened to it. I'm spewing. Yeah. Wish it was on my wall, but
sure.
Yeah, it was like, and so they all signed it, and he he did it like an art teacher. So he signed it up and gave me like a critique on it and an A+ and all sorts of shit. He wrote it with
he just rolled with it, like went with that. That's awesome.
Yeah, man, he's just such a cool dude, man. So and I don't know if you follow another dude on Instagram. He's a fan too. His name's Adam. He's got something called the Dimebag Rig Project.
Oh yeah. I actually chatted with him a little bit on Instagram. He put up a question about guitars and where they were made, and he had a little, we had a little conversation about that because I responded to him and being a guitar nerd. But yeah, I've been following him for a while. Dimebag Rig Project.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's got this is like a full-on Dime fan, and he's got all the guitar stuff going on. And then he actually, on his channel, he's on YouTube, he's managed to get a lot of these famous cats
stories and stuff
like that. And I'm actually having a chat with him end of the week too. He's going to be on this as well. So yeah, it's cool to hook up with people that are just super passionate about the heavy groove thing. And I'm super keen, man. Hopefully we can keep rolling with this and get lots of cool people's perspective from all over the globe.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about, man. Just bringing everybody together.
That's it, eh? It's one of those things. I kind of feel there's fans of it everywhere in the world, but it doesn't get spoken about much. It's like, there's this metal and that metal and this band and that band, but the heavy groove elements, which are which hook you in to a band or a song, aren't always explored much or sort of appreciated as much as certain as 100 miles an hour or just this thrash and that and so those little hooks that just sort of draw you in are something that's it's worth talking about and appreciating more, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think a lot of guitarists out there could they could use more of it. They could use more of groove, and maybe maybe there's a little bit of an intimidation factor because it's not when you think of metal, you don't think of groove right away. Maybe you don't think of Pantera right away. Maybe you think of Metallica, Slayer, Anthrax. You think of these more, contemporary square. I mean, they're not square riffing, because James Hetfield, Mustaine, Scott Ian. Those guys are all riff machines, right? And we grew up on that stuff. But yeah, like having groove and how you describe it as heavy groove. It's not necessarily heavy metal, but I mean, it could be anything, and that's it could be a little intimidating because it's different. You don't want to play 150 miles an hour. It's not about that. It's not as many notes as you can fit into a measure. You could put 2 notes in a measure, but you do them tastefully and you go back and forth and dance between them. You're creating a picture, and you're driving the point home. Whatever key you might be in, and that's something. That's something I'm all about. I like intricate stuff too. Don't get me wrong, but that's not what gets me going. Groove is what really gets me going. It's what really motivates me to play.
Most definitely. I mean that's what Dime did with Walk. He just blew everyone's mind with that. It's probably the one of the easiest riffs in the world.
Totally.
But trying to get the feel. That's the thing, get the feel.
Yeah.
That's the art, So
that's it.
Yeah.
And creating space in between, right? Like he did the bend, da 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 da, and there was space in between it where it's like it almost seemed like the first time you heard it, it almost seemed like he was plucking that out of the ether. Just like, where is he coming up with this groove? Like, where is it coming from? And it's immediately recognizable. You can hear 3 seconds of the song without vocals, and exactly what song it is. You know exactly where it's going. Now because it's how famous it is.
But that's a good point you made, man, and it's also about what you're not playing as much as what you are playing, which creates that bounce and that and those cool elements,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and when the drummer and the guitarist are both on the same page.
Yep.
Obviously the bass player, but with those two dudes are locked in, there's nothing finer,
No, it's the best. Yep.
Yeah. It's one groove on. I don't know if you that into Tool or anything, but one groove on one of their new songs, Invincible, when it's just chugging for like 3 minutes straight or something.
I gotta check it out.
Oh man, they don't do a lot of that sort of typical groove in their music, obviously, but when they do, it's super good, man. It's really, 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 really good. And obviously, like I said, it's only thrown in once in a blue moon, but when they do it, man,
they know what they're doing. Yeah,
definitely.
That's cool.
So, like I said, like with the heavy groove elements, not necessarily isolated in just to metal. What were you into before you got into like the heavy stuff that sort of led you in, like rock wise or what sort of thing? I'm just curious to know.
I mean, I guess I've always had an attraction to distorted guitars and electric guitars. When I was a lot younger, I would listen to stuff like, I mean, I was an adolescent in the early 90s. I was born in 86. So like when the Black Album came out and Metallica videos were on Headbangers Ball and stuff, I would catch that and I would be interested in it, and I would headbang and like a little kid headbanging, But a lot of the stuff that caught my ear was I have 2 older sisters and they had boyfriends and stuff, so like I had a lot of influence from them, like Joe Satriani. I didn't even know who Joe Satriani was, but he had an album around then, and listening to that, and my sister's boyfriend's Camaro, IROC Camaro with T-tops, with Joe Satriani blasting, and I remember just like being giddy, like giggling with joy, because it just was the coolest thing. Like I was little, I didn't really know anything, but a lot of that stuff kind of propelled me into finding heavier and heavier and heavier stuff, Right. And I mean, I still listen to a lot of like classic stuff too. I still listen to Sabbath, Deep Purple, even stuff that's not even like connected to heavy metal, like old guitarists like Tony Joe White, he's he's from Louisiana, I think.
Mhm.
I think he's from Louisiana, but he's got kind of like a country sort of classic rock kind of feel to his riffs, and they're definitely bluesy and very groove oriented, and it's totally different. It's not metal at all, but it's
Yeah.
just, again, it's groovy and it's cool, and you could totally inject some of those elements into metal, and easily create a song. Um, but yeah, that's probably like where I came from, and then, like I'm saying, in my teenage years, whatever was accessible at the time, I wasn't very underground. I was listening to early Limp Bizkit, Korn, Rage Against the Machine,
Yeah.
Stained was around, Mudvayne, like all that
Yeah.
Slipknot when they came out, it was like, whoa, all
Yeah.
that stuff was kind of more accessible to me before I started playing guitar. Then I started digging into like really a lot of 80s thrash, like early Metallica. I remember when I first heard the album Kill 'Em All, I must have been
Mhm.
like 15 or 16 and was just blown away by the ferocity of it. There was just so
Yeah.
much anger and piss and vinegar and everything James was throwing down. Um,
Most definitely. Yeah.
but yeah, that's about where I came from.
Cool, man. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, like definitely. You mentioned Rage there. They got some super cool groove elements. Most
Yeah.
definitely. Tom Morello. He writes some weird shit, but he writes some bloody cool groove as well.
Yeah.
Really,
Really
really,
good
really good.
stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. When
it's kind of I don't want to say he's tarnished his history, but like I really like Soundgarden and I really like Rage Against the Machine, but I was not that crazy about Audio Slave. They had a couple bangers. There's a couple good songs,
yeah,
couple good Audio Slave songs, but
I'm
uh,
in the same boat. I'm in the same boat there. Yeah.
yeah, but like for a young kid to discover who Tom Morello is via Audio Slave, it's like, bro, pump the brakes. You need to go and check out some early Rage Against the Machine and hear what
Yeah.
Tom was doing,
Yeah.
25 years ago, just to hear some of that stuff.
Yeah. Most definitely. Most
Yeah.
definitely, man. Yeah. So getting off the subject a little, how's everything in your part of the world, man? How's the COVID and all that sort of shit going over there?
We're supposed to open up. We're like, the rest of the states are all open. California is a little more, I don't know, I guess cautious. I don't know what the word is, but they're trying to
Yeah.
open up like June 15th. Why they picked that date, I couldn't tell you, but the rest of the states are open. Everyone's having a good time. Bars are
Okay.
opening back up. Restaurants are open back up. We're just waiting for that to happen over here,
Okay.
in a couple weeks. How about you guys?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Australia's hardly, you know, we've been pretty damn fortunate. There's one southern state in Victoria which has had a couple of bad knocks of it,
Sure.
and they're sort of going through something again a little bit, but because we're an isolated bubble, a bit of an island here, so we've
Yeah,
been kind of fortunate in respect to that. But
that's good.
obviously, yeah, government is super super duper cautious here, so I
Yeah,
can't see us opening up to the world for a while. So
right.
it's good.
So
But
traveling to and from Australia is still are you
pretty,
that's not happening right now?
yeah, it's pretty restricted. I mean, there's still some people coming back and forth, but it's very restricted, special circumstances and all that sort of thing.
Sure.
But yeah, no open travel, not at all. So
Right.
I think with New Zealand, it might still be happening because we're just across the Tasman neighbours,
Hmm.
but not other countries.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So guess we'll see, man. I guess yeah, the live music industry, live music has most definitely suffered everywhere in the world, big time.
Yeah. Yep.
We're kind of lucky we've got the internet to give us a little bit of it, but yeah, obviously
Yeah.
it's just not the same.
No, it's not. I mean, yeah, the internet's definitely made things more accessible. Hopefully that doesn't become a crutch for bands that want to go touring and still want to do their thing. Because I mean, there's nothing can replace a good live show. At least in my opinion.
No,
And
not at all.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. Cool, man. Well, dude, man, it was super cool meeting you and talking to you.
yeah.
And
Likewise, I appreciate it, Dan.
yeah, man, we'll keep in touch, man, and yeah, keep shredding and posting your riffs and some of your stuff you're putting on the original stuff, isn't it, or is it all cover stuff?
No, most of it's original. I've
Yeah,
been
that's
I've
what I
been doing
thought.
a lot. Yeah, doing a lot of Ola England. He's doing those riff challenges. So I take the
Oh,
drums
yeah,
that he
yeah,
writes, and if I
yeah.
got a drummer, I mean, I'll just write stuff. It just seems to come out of me. I'll pick up a guitar, and there's some aggression in my heart somewhere. you know,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, he's pretty cool, that dude. The guys in my band love his band. What are they called? Feared?
Fear, yeah, badass, yeah,
Yeah. It's super cool stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, no, they fully dig him. So yeah, man, I'll keep you posted too. I'll share you all the links with this, and also when we drop our music sometime in the near future, I'll keep you informed as well, man.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. I heard some of the demo tracks you got on the Instagram. It sounds good, man. I'm looking forward to your stuff.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's mostly heavy groove orientated. It's got some other moments in there, but
Hmm.
that's our first love, so we got to put it out there. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
cool.
Cool, man. All
All
right.
right, Dan. Well, it was a pleasure, man. You take care. I'm sure we'll cross paths real soon.
Most definitely, man. You take care, Peter, and have an awesome rest of your day, man.
All right, you too. Thanks, man.
Later, man.
See ya.
See ya.